How positive is that for an attitude, hey? Uh,
Okay, go.
Greetings, Earthlings.
We are Johnita Francis and Trish Rock, your empowerment influencers.
The no
Don't be
fluff.
fooled.
Oh. I was going to say, I'm not in my emo state. I need to be in my emo. No fluff conversations about life, empowerment, spirituality, and freedom. How was that?
Yay! Thank you everybody for joining us. This is our 13th episode. Woo woo woo. And we are proudly sponsored by Holistic Bliss magazine.
We are indeed. So I can see you've made some changes, Trish. What like have you had your hair coloured? What's going on for
Yeah, it's
you?
been a busy week,
Mm.
Yeah, it's been really interesting. I kind of have just channeled my 13-year-old kind of energy.
Ooh. Ooh. Well, I actually, because when we finished our podcast last week, we thought, what can we do? We're rebellious teenagers, and so it's not much different from what we normally do anyway. So we have to do something else this week. So we decided to pay homage, is it,
Yep.
to the year that we turned 13.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Are we
And
going to divulge what year that was?
yeah, so I turned 13 in 1977, and I love 13 because it was on the 7th of the 7th, 77. My best birthday ever, only because of the date. I don't remember what actually happened in my birthday, but really cool date. And of course, in the 70s, it was all fluff and Farrah Fawcett and, shagadelic. So shagalicious, I should say.
Oh,
So,
I just
and
had pictures of
brown.
Austin Powers' hairy chest when you said that. It just popped straight in.
He's just over here watching. I invited him along
Oh,
too.
it's
Yes, we're just going to get it on later.
yeah. Oh,
So when were you 13?
I was 13 in 1990s. So
Mm,
that was really when the emo movement really started to, hang out
mm.
at schools and hang out after schools and see them at the skateboard rack and, all that sort of stuff. So I decided to go emo and I'm sucking at being emo.
I
Me.
think because you're actually smiling too much.
I need to be more upset about Earth. My purpose here or something. I'm not sure. You're gonna have to rein me back in. But I did find this really cool wig.
Yes,
I don't
very
think I'll be
cool.
dyeing my hair anytime soon because I do look like a bit washed out. Like I need some iron, a steak or
Oh,
something.
it might go well with your Ouija board when you start to bring that out one day.
Ooh,
Ooh.
yeah.
And so for hello everybody in the live audience, you've joined us. Obviously, we're just looking a little bit different tonight, so don't
One of
freak
our
out.
viewers said, thought I had the wrong page. And then you heard us talk.
Yeah, no, it's us. And for those of you listening on one of the podcast channels, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Buzzsprout, you need to get over to our Facebook page or one of our YouTube channels and check out the live video of this podcast for this week, our 13th birthday, because we're just looking smashing.
We are. I can't actually have a glass of water because I'm leaving black lips everywhere.
Yeah.
And I've used a long wearing eyeliner, so I could be having black lips for a few days yet. We'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. Everyone will be watching your lives with great interest.
Oh, we have sparklers.
Woohoo! Go
Oh,
us, 13, 13.
we are. God, 13.
Yay!
What naughty stuff did you do when you were 13? Anything?
Oh, by the time I was 13, I was off smoking drugs and drinking and all sorts of stuff with my brother, who used to sneak me into all the pubs.
Oh my God, this is why I love you. You had the childhood I only dreamed of.
I used to wag my wag school and go and drink with the boys in the underpass. Yeah,
Oh my God.
not good. Hope my children aren't listening.
Especially if you roused them for being naughty when they were 13. Ha ha ha.
Lucky I turned out so normal, right? Really.
Yes, yes, yes. I'm not good with this line stuff. I didn't do anything at 13.
Oh.
No, I actually played a lot of sport, and I have a lot of arthritis now. Because
Mm.
sport for me was, I wasn't allowed to go over to friends' houses or anything like that on the weekend or after school or anything. So when I started high school, Eleanor High on the Gold Coast, at the back of Palm Beach there, they used to have their school excursions on a Saturday night. And I was actually allowed to go to the school excursions, and it was great because we do cable water ski or we go ice skating
Oh,
or
excellent.
our principal was amazing. So that's probably the
Mm.
highlight of 13. And I mean, I would do 4 or 5 sports every single semester. So
Oh, fantastic.
yeah,
Yeah. Well,
but I
you
wasn't
had
allowed.
no time for boys, drugs, and drink.
Well, I had a boyfriend from the time I was 10, and that was
Mm.
contestant number 1. So he'd been my boyfriend already for 3 years. I was in a steady relationship by the time I was 13. But he lived in Victoria and I was on the Gold Coast. So, it's like
Mm.
no normal 13-year-old stuff there. I remained faithful. Unfortunately, he did not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't do any of
Oh.
that stuff.
Just seeing if we've got anybody new here. For anybody new, we are actually in costume. Just so
Yes,
you know.
yes. We
I know
don't
we
look
look
this gorgeous normally.
fantastically natural, but we are in costume.
Yeah. And the wig, I mean, my hair is not itching me at all.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, yep. All right, shall we spin the wheel?
Oh, I forgot all about the wheel. I was too busy reminiscing. That's a song, isn't it? Who sang that?
Little River Band.
We should do
Look,
music trivia one night, shouldn't we?
yeah.
All right, take it away. Do I need to
Oh,
share something? No, you need to
no,
share it.
oh God, I'm the one letting the side down now. There it is. All right.
Ooh, right. Now I need
So,
to. Hey, go, go, go. No, that's peer pressure. We really did step back in time. I'm going to beat your ass behind the canteen later, lady. Oh, and we got hit
hit us
us up.
up. All right.
Woohoo!
And it is actually a Q&A
Sure.
Q&A session today
Yeah.
for us. So hit us up with all your best.
Yep.
And let's see. I think all my spirits have kind of got scared away with the dog and the cat. So hopefully I will be able to channel some answers
Ah,
for
I
everybody.
actually,
For everyone in the live audience, my cat is just hissing at me, and my dog has got her back to me because they're like, I don't know you.
no, I don't know who you are, but you put my mother back now. I thought it's funny. I ran around the house with the wig on trying to freak my kids out, and they're like, really? So I must do a lot of freaky shit anyway, or they're so
You must
used
do.
to just seeing random people in the house, they just
You
don't
must
care.
do.
Yeah.
All right, hit us up with a question, ladies. Whoever
Rightio.
won
Who wants
one.
to know? Please don't ask me a crystal question because I will lie. I'll tell you it's a confusionite crystal, and it brings clarity of thought to you. That's my answer for every crystal that I don't realize what it is, and
Oh,
my scope
okay.
is like about 5. I know 5 crystals.
If I don't know it, I just go by the color and go, "Oh yeah, that would be really good for that."
Oh, I should do that because they like the lapis is really good for throat,
Yeah.
and the purples are really good for your third eye. That's a bloody good idea. You just given me a cheat sheet.
Now, ladies, we're not doing psychic readings. We're not pulling cards. We want a
Oh,
question from you. If you want to learn something about spirituality, whatever your life is at the moment, intuition, empowerment, whatever it is, we're not answering.
no, not
Yeah,
doing reading. If you
not
need a
doing
reading
reading.
with one of us, you can book them privately, but we don't do them in the podcast at
No,
all.
no. Oh, here we got one from Jess Polhouse. What inspired you ladies to join up? Well, for the podcast, I
Oh,
don't know. It
I
was
know
just,
this one.
oh, okay, good.
It's a balmy night in Greece. Oh. It was a freezing cold freaking day in Canberra.
It was.
And I came around the corner, and right before my eyes was this beautiful blonde. And I thought, how you going? And she threw some sticks on the table, and it was love at first sight, really,
Yeah,
wasn't it? I might have added few little bits in there, but predominantly that's what happened.
pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. And we've been friends since then. And then as far as the podcast goes, I don't know. We were just both kind of 14 or 15 weeks ago, it's like, hey, why don't we do a podcast? Oh my God, I was thinking the same thing.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. And it was done.
Because Trish said right in the beginning, like in January, we're going to work together this year. And I'm like, okay. And then, like, literally a few weeks later, we're like, oh, it might have been January, whenever it was. But it was literally a couple of weeks later. And we're like, let's do a podcast. Okay. We're
Yeah.
doing that. We're doing
And,
that.
and I
And
think
then
we've
everything else just
done.
fell into place.
It did. And, the other cool thing is because years and years and years ago, 2014, I've already got some podcasts out there where we're already in on many of the channels that people are waiting 13 or sometimes 14 months or weeks, so a few months waiting to get listed on iTunes and Google Play. It's not easy to get listed on there anymore. And so we were straight in. So everything's just kind of lined up. We're across the channels and into our 13 episodes, getting lots of downloads. We have a sponsor, Holistic Bliss. Thank you. And
Great
it's exciting.
listeners.
Fabulous
We
live audience.
I know it. It's a lot of fun. And I still get I text Trish earlier today and said, I'm so excited about tonight. I'm just so excited. And I don't know if because we've got to do something a bit stupid, um, or if it's just because I've never lost that fire in my belly for the podcast, because we do the Wheel of Wisdom. We never know what we're going to get. Yes, predominantly, we pick the topics right in the beginning, but we pick them at the the formatting side and the framework, putting it all together, and we haven't gone back and tweaked anything. What you see is what you get.
I don't even
Um,
remember the topics.
I think you came up with 10 and I came up with 10, and there was
Yeah,
actually, and we thought it would be hilarious if we came up with the same 10, but we actually came up with
10 different.
complementary topics,
We
but nobody
did.
crossed over. And it was something that we
Mm,
both knew, a little bit about. And then we just channel and cheat because, we're mediums. So what's in the top? May
that's
as well.
right.
But it's
Yeah. But I think the
great.
wheel of wisdom has put the fun into it because seriously, guys, we just show up like we do
Yep.
some of the background techie stuff and whatever. But we just show up. We have no pre-planned notes. We have nothing. It's just like, oh, what will it be tonight? And we just go for it. And I think it's far more interesting. And for us, it's better because I think if this was going to be hard work and we had to study for the week before, I
Yeah.
just wouldn't be doing it.
I'd be like, yeah, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm riding my bike.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I come up with some excuse because I'm just not, like I've got a radio show, and this morning I'm like, okay, guys, so as usual, I'm prepared and planned, and what are we going to talk? Oh, that's what we're going to talk about today, and it
Oh,
just dawns, and I think, and Trish and I have seen a lot of information out there about how to be confident in your videos and how to tweak them and how to edit them, and we're like, fuck that, that's for pussies. We'll just see what happens.
let's just get
What's
on
the
there.
worst that can happen? So yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
All right, what have we got? Yep, Nicole and Sophie, we're not answering psychic questions. I'd like to know if it's possible for someone to be trying to contact me, Anzi. I don't know, is that a psychic question or is that, I think
I think,
probably.
yeah, look, it kind of is, but I'm not going to answer it that way. I'm going to answer
Yeah.
it how I want to because I'm 13, and good luck telling me what to do because you're not the boss of me. But it is absolutely possible for someone to be trying to contact you. And what you probably, and I'm going to preach just for a little bit here because there's so much information and misinformation out about what the spirit world does and what the human world does and how they interact. And it's a load of shit. Um, I had a lady a very long time ago, and she said, I want to know if my husband's around me. And as soon as she started talking about her husband, swallows was flying around, and they weren't there all bloody morning. And then she wandered off and bought some crystals. We were at a fair or whatever. She came back and I had another chat. The swallows came back.
Yeah.
So you've got to remember that spirit will use whatever means possible to get their message to you. They cannot afford to, or even orchestrate hiring one of those aeroplanes that does the smoke signals. Okay, they can't type a letter to you, so you have to be open to receive whatever message that you possibly can, and that
Mm,
could be, your brother committed suicide, for example, and his favorite color was yellow, and you keep seeing yellow cars. That's your brother saying, "Hey, hey, hey."
yeah.
So you've
Yeah.
got to be
You've got to notice, don't you? You've got to
yeah,
notice.
got to be
Yeah.
present in the moment to notice what the messages are. So you
Absolutely. And then trust that it's a message, because
yeah,
that's the other thing. You think, that bird just flew by. That doesn't mean anything. And then you doubt yourself. So we talk about this every week. You've got
yeah,
to trust what comes up and then go with the flow.
yeah,
You're not
absolutely.
making it up. You're not
No,
making it up.
no.
All right. Oh, my daughter Jess. Hey, Jess. Yeah, we're not pulling cards tonight, but the answer is yes. Um, okay, lithomacy. I have no idea what lithomacy is.
Diplomacy.
Lithomacy. The
Right.
lithomancy. Oh, Jess reckons we look alike. Oh, I do. Do I look like you tonight, Jess? Jess has beautiful hair
Oh,
like
I
this.
thought you and I look alike.
Oh, Jess has beautiful hair like this, so we
Oh,
could go out as 20s one night, Jess, next time I'm in Adelaide.
lithomacy.
Lithomacy.
Ah, so I think what you mean is
I've never heard of it.
using stones reflected light. Okay, so it's kind of like using loose crystals to be able to predict future. So if you reach in, like the bag of
Ah,
runes, for example. So I've done a little
right.
bit on this with my crystal workshop, and don't
Ah,
laugh at
okay.
me.
Awesome.
Don't laugh at me. But I had Jess Ainsworth in my back pocket teaching me about crystals. But as far as reading from the crystals are concerned, if you
Mm,
chuck a few crystals into a bag, you can flick them across like I think You Matter You Know has actually got some pendulum boards, and they're like little circles about a plate. Size of a plate, and they've got different things like a Ouija board, but it's actually a pendulum board, and you
yep.
can flick the crystals across there and see where they land, and make the story from that.
Ah,
Um,
gotcha. You can do that with
yeah.
any tumbled stones. I listen to some YouTube channels where she's got her gems. It's called a gemstone reading.
Oh, well, a friend of mine uses bones and knuckles
Oh,
of
yes,
yeah.
yep. So is
You
that
know,
what lithomacy is? Yeah, I've never heard of it. So what are your thoughts on it? I guess, Alison, it's like any other divination tool. It will bring messages.
yeah,
And if you can read the messages and interpret them, then it will be just as a constructive tool, just as any other tool that we use.
definitely. I'd be hopeless at it because I'd be like, "Oh, that's so pretty." I can see that you're going to be confused because I have no fucking idea about crystals, but I would be able to get a feeling of them. So when I pick a crystal before I do a reading, I don't know where that crystal is, and if I really need to know, I'll ask Jess Ainsworth. But if I don't need to know, and I just need to know the feeling around it, I
Yeah.
will say to somebody, "Look, this is the right crystal for you. I don't know what it is. I'll find out if you're interested." Or 9 times out of the 10, they go, "Oh, that's tiger's eye. I bought some of that the other day." So they're already on to what crystal they need to work with. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? I think for me, because I'm really good at scrying, I think for me that I would be able to read that quite easily too, and just not even know what the crystals are. I'd go with the color, but once again, I would just go with whatever messages we're channeling through. It's
yeah,
like I think we were talking about coffee cup readings or tea leaf readings or something last week or the week before, and yeah, I mean, I've never learned to do that, but because I scry really easily and I trust the messages that come through, I
yeah.
can pretty much read anything. Flowers. Hey, why don't we do flower readings on here one night? That would be really cool.
Great
Any,
idea.
yeah.
I'll give
I'm,
it a go. I've never given it a go.
I might actually do that. Yeah, I'll do that over on my page one day because I love doing that. It's so much fun. But once again, it's a divination tool, and it's like cards, it's like runes, it's like pendulums.
Yeah,
You've got to trust the message coming in.
absolutely,
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely. Good
So, all
question.
right, what else? What else have we got here?
Jess Kumar. Kumar wants to know.
Kumar.
Oh, it sounds like something out of the Lion King, doesn't it?
It
Kumar.
does.
Sorry about that. All right, she's pissing herself laughing. I can hear her. I want to know if it was a long drawn out mission unlocking your gifts. Fuck no, not for me. They were like the long drawn out part for me is trusting human beings. That's the hard
Mm,
part for me. The easy part is the dead people. They turn up. They don't make promises they can't keep or refuse to keep. They don't hurt my feelings. They don't hurt me. They're not mistrusting.
mm.
100% trust them. So for me, it was a walk in the park.
Yeah, yeah. And I guess for me, I've always just done what I've done, but I didn't know I was doing it.
Yeah. So you're a natural, absolute natural, and it's obvious
Yeah.
because it's nothing's outside of your reach because
No.
you give it a go,
I'll give
and
it a
it just falls
go.
into place. Yep.
But I never used to use any tools because, as you know, I was in the nail industry, so I was just one-on-one with people and just channeling solutions for them, right? And just thinking everyone could do it. So I didn't think it was different or
Yeah.
anything.
I love
But
that because I just I just picture you going, "You got boyfriend?"
you got boyfriend? That's funny.
It's so funny. Yeah, sorry.
Oh, so
Brilliant.
and I guess when I left that, because in 2009 when I left the nail industry, I'd never read any cards. I didn't own any cards. I don't think I even listened to anyone doing anything like that. I just knew I had a bigger message, and it was when my grandson was born. Probably 5 years ago, he's just turned 5. I bought my first deck of cards, and I only bought them because they were in the shape of infinity, and I'm like, oh, I need them. And then I got home and unpacked them, and I'm like, oh shit, they're tarot cards. I don't know how to use tarot. I just went onto YouTube and I just learnt it, but it came so easily to me,
Yeah.
like I already knew it. So
Yeah. Yeah.
so since then, of course, I do all of that, but I think what was hard for me, Jess, was getting into the business of it and trying to convince people of my credentials. That was the difficult thing because I didn't have any. It was just like, hey guys, I've been doing this forever and I know what I'm doing. Just come to me and I can help you. They're like,
Yeah.
yeah, nah, where's your certificates and blah, 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 all the other bullshit that people want. So I think in the beginning, I just got really disheartened with that because I'm like, why don't people trust that I can help them? So then I went and did a couple of certificates. I did my holistic health and wellbeing certificate. I did a postgrad in mind body. I did a couple of Reiki courses and angelic Reiki, things like that, really just to have it there so
Yeah.
that people said, oh, she knows what she's doing.
Yeah.
I don't use a lot of it now because really I've just used my own. But I also think, though, that times have changed in the last year, especially. People aren't looking for a list of certificates.
Yeah.
They're looking for somebody that they connect with energetically. And
Yeah.
so now I've come full circle now and I don't have to prove how I can help you. I just need to write it in a way that shows you that I can solve your problem for you. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
been the hardest thing for me, getting out there into business and proving my worth.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
suppose for me, because I took my first payment for reading when I was 16. So that was 1993. So in 1993, you're old, then you're a psychic. You can't be young and a psychic because you're not, no,
It
you've
was
got to
the
be an
whole
old hunchback lady with one cross eye.
and
That's
the
how you be a psychic.
and the crystal ball. It was
Yeah.
really the crystal
Yeah. It
ball.
was
Yeah.
really stereotypical
Yeah.
Hollywood style stuff.
Fortune
So,
teller. You had to be a
yeah, so all
fortune
of my
teller.
clients were people my own age and up to, 22, 23 years of age, and then they started
Yeah.
telling their parents about it. So, yeah,
Yeah.
interesting, isn't
It is interesting. And I think of all the people I work with, the clients I work with, trying to get them, give them the encouragement and the empowerment to get started in their own intuitive business. It's their own self-worth that they
it? Yeah,
self-worth, but also the trust in what they can do.
yeah,
And that's probably the hardest thing for people, to know that they're good enough.
to recognize the greatness in them. Yeah,
Yeah, and you don't have to know 20 different ways to, you know, different divinity tools or anything.
oh,
Really, you don't have to know any of that. You just need to be able to connect with people and trust your messages.
yeah. Pay attention to what's going on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
everything.
So
Ooh,
perfect. All right, Jess Polhouse, what are each of your gifts and how do they work for you? I guess we kind of just covered that a little bit then, didn't we?
yeah,
My gift is uh, interpreting messages, not messages. I'm really good at listening to somebody for 10 or 15 minutes, really interpreting what they're saying, what their higher self is saying, and what spirit is saying to me, and bringing it all together and finding a new perspective for them. That's really my magic gift, so that they
yeah,
can actually see what the real problem is and then move forward from it. Because there's many of us who, oh, my problem is this. And so they go for years and years trying to solve that problem, and it's not actually the problem. There's a different problem underneath it.
Yeah, it's the
This,
band-aid. That's the obvious sign. Yeah.
yeah, so that's one of my gifts. And then I use the tools of tarot, oracle, numerology, chakra, pendulum, whatever it is. I use those tools then
Grab the
to,
kid walking past. Swing this kid.
yep, yep, yep. So yeah. But I'm not a medium like you as such. I do bring spirit in, but there's a difference there. So, you really are quite connected in that way to do that medium work. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So for me, I've got all the 8 clairs, and then I also cheat when it comes to astrology because I have a human being that is an amazing astrologer, and then I can just channel whoever I want to bring in to help me with the rest of it. So I'm very lucky. I take shortcuts with a lot of stuff, but I absolutely 100% trust everything that comes through. So
Yeah.
nothing is off the charts for me ever. So I've started doing the Dear Human letters, and they're tapping into your higher self, and I do it through automatic writing. So it's about empowering, like Trish said, she's just summed it up perfectly. It's empowering others that want to do in that spiritual as a business or enhance their spiritual life and their passion, and either do it as a side hustle or as a full-time income, or just keep it the way it is and just enjoy the fact that you can do it. But
Mm,
our whole purpose is to make sure that you're empowered enough to know that you can do that. So it's
yeah.
I will pull in whatever I need to, like Trish, she uses a whole bunch of tools. I use a whole bunch of people, and and then we
Yeah.
get the answer, and we get the right people, the right answers for the right people. So we're very lucky. We're very
And
lucky.
and for both of it, it's about empowering people
Yep.
to make their own choices in life and not be dependent on the external or somebody in the external to make them happy or give them their best life. It's about empowering people to stand up for themselves and say, yeah, if it's going to be, it's up to me, basically.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's gonna be. It's up to me. Oh, I like that.
And not all psychics, mediums, intuitives, people in the spirituality industry are like that. Not everybody has that purpose, right? We have it, but not everybody does. Some people purely are just predictive readings, or I'll read the tarot, or I'll bring someone in for you. Not
Yeah.
everybody wants to mentor people into a place of self empowerment like we
Yeah.
do. Yeah,
Yeah. We want it. We don't want to teach. We want to teach you how to fish, not give you a fish.
yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
That's what it's all about.
All right, what have we got here? Let me see. Gives you a vibe that you don't know, and then you don't ask either, I feel. Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. Joanne, yes, and that was the best advice. Oh, thanks, Joanne. Jess again, do you feel we got lots of Jesses? Go the Jesses. Do you feel it always takes a somewhat negative experience or a breakdown to life as you know it for one's gifts to start to come through?
No, I'm going to say
No,
no.
no, no,
Yeah.
I don't think so either.
Yeah.
Um, Actually, a breakdown and a negative experience would probably block it.
Yeah. I think for a lot of people that have a near death experience and then they suddenly become intuitive, I actually see it differently. I see the near death experience as an opportunity to really feel grateful for things that you have in your life. Stop, be present, pay attention to what's going on right now. And
Yeah.
sometimes people that have a near death experience, especially people that go through strokes and really scary stuff, and I think stroke is probably one of the scariest things anybody could go through,
Mm,
just based on my small amount of medical knowledge, but my big commitment to community is concerned. That's because it effectively renders you completely helpless. So you've got nothing to do but think about things and be introspective. And I think the near death experience, you sort of wake up thinking how wonderful life is, how beautiful, people that used to shit you or not be so
mm,
um, traumatized or consumed by things that used to annoy you or to get under your skin, or recognize how beautiful the sky looks every single morning on your ride to work.
yeah.
So I think that's more what it is. I think it's not necessarily the trauma of that near death experience or that
Mm.
negative thing that's happened. It's your mindset of saying, fuck, I need to look at things differently now. And I think
Yeah.
that's what it does. I think everyone's always got intuitive. The whole, if you don't use it, you lose it. It's a load of shit as far as I'm concerned. It's always there, just that life gets in the way. So it's
I
up to
think
you.
so. And the other thing that just came up was that the breakdown or the negative experience actually builds, and it's happened for both of us. It builds our determination
Yeah.
to actually be better. And then
Yeah.
when you decide I'm going to live my best life and be the best version of myself, then that includes the intuition. Now, for you, your negative experience of abuse as a child did bring that
I'm
skill
like the
in.
ninja warrior of negative shit.
Yeah. But that did set off. If you hadn't have
Yeah,
had that negative experience, you might not have seen dead people.
absolutely.
So it kind of set it off for you a little bit, I guess. And I think for me, it was towards that final year of doing nails, I was just so over it that I even wrote a book. Actually, have I told you about my book? It's still available on Amazon. It's called How to Love the Clients You Really Want to Hate, and it's actually a little bit soft in parts because that's who I am. But it goes through 5 different clients: the ones who are always late, the ones who don't show up, the hypochondriacs, the know-it-alls, and then the ideal client. And it just describes them all because I was so fed up by that point, right? It describes them all, but then at the end of each chapter I give a little overview of how you can change your perspective and actually love that client. So has got a happy ending. But I was so frustrated at that point that for me it wasn't really a negative experience. It was frustration of, I'm done with this.
Yeah,
What's my next step? I need to use these skills in a more productive way for people who want to hear them. So,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely. I
yeah.
know when I worked in a particular workplace and it just felt like problem after problem. And as soon as I solved something, another one would come along. And I caught myself saying one day, it's freaking problem after problem, which basically says to the universe, bring it at me.
Yeah, bring me more, bring me
Yeah,
more.
I love problems. Keep bringing them to me.
Yeah.
So I actually thought to myself, wow, solution after solution. And then all of a sudden the problem disappeared. And I know it sounds really corny, but I was actually getting people at that point to come up to me and say, hey, I think I can fix it this way. And this is my problem. I was actually getting them to give me their probable solution before I even
Mm.
knew what the problem was. So it was a big, yeah, I had to change my mindset. I don't always ace it. I will tell you now. Sometimes, like, I would use your book to hit people every now and then. So, like chapter 4, how you can get rid of that annoying person, whack on the head. Boom.
So I guess, even then, I guess I had this thing of, they've got a reason. They've got a reason. The person who books all the time and never shows up, maybe she's in a power control struggle at home with an abusive husband and needs to feel good every now and again by booking in somewhere
Yeah.
and just can't come. So yeah, it's just interesting, isn't it? It's just
Or he
my
gets drunk. I had a lady that
mm,
worked for me, and I had started in the September, and she had a brilliant reputation. Like everybody, she worked in my area, but everybody else wanted a little piece of this girl because she was just fantastic. And then the wheels fell off at around in the March or the April of the following year, and they were still falling off towards June. And I sort of watched the pattern and didn't know what was going on with her personally, but I knew that there was something because you can't take someone so dedicated to their craft and almost overnight be the worst possible employee you could ever think of. Whatever
no, there would have
horrible
been
thing,
something
there's
happening.
something. So I
Yeah.
spoke to her and I said, look, I understand that it's going to be really deep for you and very personal, but I know what you're capable of. And on the 17th of March, whatever it is, something changed because that following week you were just coming to pieces. I couldn't find you. You weren't answering your phone. You weren't turning up for shift. Turned out that her mum was a recovering alcoholic and she had fallen off the wagon and tried to commit herself.
Mm,
So committed suicide. And thankfully, not thankfully, but thankfully, she was unsuccessful, but she actually had some other issues from being an unsuccessful suicide attempt. And sometimes that is so horrific. And this is what happened in this particular case. And this poor young girl was trying to balance her mum's anger at life and at the situation, and why was she going through this? All she wanted to do was end it, and now she's even more crippled and paralyzed than what she ever was before. And this poor girl only had herself. She was the oldest out of like 2 or 3 kids, and I'm
Mm.
like, you know, our whole motto, I won't say it because you'll know who I worked for, but our whole motto was to support people. So why are we not doing everything in our power to support this person? And that
Mhm.
is the day that everybody chipped in and started helping this girl. And we actually got
Mm.
people to volunteer time to go and give her a hand around the house. It was
Yeah.
so simple to fix, but
Yes.
it was so out of character for her. So it's
Once again, it's about noticing it, isn't it?
yeah.
Noticing it and wanting to do something.
And she was a casual, so it was there was nothing to gain. I could have just sacked her and been done with it, but it was so out of character. It wasn't who she was.
Yeah.
It takes, Did you just cleanse me, woman?
I'm just adding a little sparkle to your
Oh,
life.
did you go roller skating?
Yes, I was a roller skater. I was also a skateboarder.
Oh, I had a bright green skateboard.
Oh.
It had a monster face underneath it, but I can't. It was a Kmart one, But yeah, but I loved roller skating. Loved it. Could go backwards forever.
Ah.
And then I could go forwards, and I Was Made for Loving You was my favourite song to roller skate to because
Oh.
I was in love with Gene Simmons.
Oh.
And look, I grew up and turned into him.
Woohoo!
Woohoo!
All right, what else we
Alright.
got? Um,
We've had Jess. You're welcome, Jess. 10 years as a customer service specialist.
you're hearing me, yeah, yeah.
Conflict
Next,
resolution 101.
next, you can read my book next time you're over here, Joanne. You would probably really resonate with it. I have blonde hair falling out everywhere.
Oh, I actually tried to straighten this because I looked like I stuck my tongue in a power socket and there was black hair all over the place.
That's
It looks like
wicked.
I've killed somebody. How funny.
Jennifer, hi
All right.
Jennifer. Do you have any tips on working with angels? Tips on working with angels. You're probably asking the wrong girls because we're not big angel believers. However, angels are an entity, an energy, the same as we work with guides, etc. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah.
suppose
I mean, I will bring them into my conversation every now and again if I've if I'm talking with someone and I can sing the colours, I'll think it's Archangel Raphael or Michael or something like that. But I'm
yeah.
not real big on angels.
No. I think I kind of, and it's not because I don't know. For me, I just think that it's a little hard for me to get my head around that aspect of it because in all the times I've been astral traveling, all the times I've been doing what I've been doing, I actually haven't had any encounters like that at all. And I've been doing this for a very long time, like 40 conscious years of remembering interactions with spirit. So um I don't really have any of that I can draw on. So I've seen some really crazy stuff and I've seen some pretty thinking, what the hell did I just walk into stuff. I've been out on the astral plane and seen all sorts of weird things. And I've had all sorts
Yeah,
of weird things happen in my house, but I've actually never, ever, ever, ever had an interaction with an angel. So,
yeah,
and I think it's,
interesting. I think some of those photos that people capture, and they look like a white light and with wings. I just feel that's the who knows, maybe it is, everything's possible.
yeah,
So but I just kind of feel it's all just higher vibrating energy. So
yeah,
um
yeah. And it's
it,
the same, like someone said to me, I keep seeing these black shadows in my house. And for
yeah.
me, a darker colored object or entity just means that they've been around for longer. So when they first pass, they're light and they're white and they're crystal clear and there's not a lot of atmospheric dirt on them. And as they get older or been around for a longer time or they're quite active in their spirit work that they're doing, they actually pick up atmospheric dirt and their color gets darker because they picked up more shit.
Oh, that's
So
interesting.
yeah, so if I get something really, really dark through the house and it doesn't feel like I need to go, what the fuck you're doing in my house, then I see that as just someone who's just hanging around. They've been here for a long time. They're picking
Yeah.
up, or they're very busy. A lot of people that come through, they're Greek or Italians, like traditional Greek and Italians. They always come through darker, because I could imagine they're probably running around all their family members and stuff. But that
Yeah.
doesn't mean that they're evil or scary or anything like that. I just don't
No.
associate that in that way, because it's not what I've seen at all. At
Yeah.
all. Yeah.
Hey, Sherelle and Selena, it is us. We're just in costume. I told
Looking
you. Didn't
fabulous.
I tell you before we start that we're going to scare a few people? It's going to be like, who is that? It's our 13th episode, guys. So I'm in a 1970s teenage dress up. Well, not a teenage, it's a theme, 1970s theme. And because I was 13 then, and Johnita is in a 1990s theme.
Of emo, which I
Mm.
suck at being emo.
And it is Q&A from the audience, and we've got about another 5 minutes. Hit us up with another question, guys. What do you got? What do you want to know?
I would like to know if there's any makeup artists in the crowd, if they know how to get eyeliner off lips. Actually, don't tell me that, because some of you would think it's hilarious to tell me how to stick it there for longer. So no, scratch that.
Oh dear, oh dear. You'll be able to makeup remover will get it off. You'll be fine.
So Selena's just asked why we're not big on angels, but I think we might have covered that anyways. Just yeah.
Yeah, we
Look,
did. And we're not saying they're not there, they don't exist. We just don't tune into them because
yep, that's
it's just
not
not our
our.
work.
Yep, exactly. See how aligned we are.
And yes, I feel different people relate to different entities depending on frequency. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely. If
Yep.
sometimes if and I've seen this a lot, especially in fairs, where people will walk around, 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 and around in circles trying to choose a reader. And it's not because they don't know where to go. They're actually looking
Mm,
for the person that is the safest bet. And the
yep.
safest bet, your soul will tell you, yes, this is the right person.
Yeah.
So, and sometimes it's especially if you're tuning into clear empathy, you might get a little bit rattled with different frequencies and different energies when you go to a fair. So it might be harder for you to choose a reader.
Yeah.
But if you're vibrating at, we'll use numbers to make it easier. If you're vibrating at 5 and you go for a reading with someone who vibrates at 3, they will struggle to interpret your frequency. So your
Yeah.
reading will not be as accurate. If you are vibrating at 5 and you go to a reader that's 5 up to 55, they will have a better opportunity of interpreting your frequency, because they actually already know how to find the station. So if you think about frequencies as radio stations and the static, 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 oh, there's the tune. The tune is actually the conduit or the reader that you're going for. So a
Mm,
really good reading, you know how sometimes you just have shit ones and then sometimes you have just the best reading ever. It's actually about the person in being able to have the ability to interpret the frequency correctly, tune in the station.
absolutely. And I think that's the other way around too. Some people, I just can't reach some people. They just don't get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So it is what it is.
Yeah, and that's why, I mean, it's impossible for you and I to read for every single person in the world. So there's got to be
That's
someone
it.
for everybody. And
That's
that's the best
it.
part. If I can't
Yeah.
read for someone, I say, hey, give Trish a go. Or if someone asks me
Well,
about
that's
something
what you
else.
said to me in Canberra at the expo. No one can read for me, blah, 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 blah. And then I
Oh,
nailed it.
I had tremendous trouble getting a reader, and Trish nailed it. And the lady that I was with, I said, holy shit, she just nailed me. Who is she? Who is this freak? But, and she just had this tiny little round table in
Yeah.
amongst all of these big names.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Trish nailed it. She had me had a hello and sticks on the table.
I wasn't wearing my wig then either.
Oh, no, you weren't, were you?
No.
You might have had me at the hair flick then instead of the hello.
I wasn't shagalicious back then.
Oh, I wasn't dealing with my emotions.
Oh, all right. Selena's got a good one. I don't know the answer to that. I don't think any spirits are bad. So you
Me
might like,
neither.
no, no.
When I teach people about this, I teach them that humans have all of the emotion spectrum. So we have the anger, the grief, the pissed off. All of that is a human thing. It's a human function. When spirits die, it is what it is. It's 5D living. There is love, but it's an acceptance. It's more of an acceptance. So spirit just accepts things as they are. There's no negative or positive thought process in it. It's just, it is what it is.
There's no judgment, nothing, because
Nothing.
I've been in that energy. I
Yeah.
had like an out of body and was in that energy, and it's just nothing. You just look at everything with no judgment, and
Yeah.
it's so hard to
Beautiful.
describe as a human. But yeah, no judgment on anything.
Yep, yep, absolutely. So for me, it's yeah, there's no good or bad. I have people in our house that will move things around. We have a great big metal, shiny metal ring with all the zodiac signs carved into it, and behind that is a really heavy mirror. And they both sit together on the one hook on the wall. And a couple of weeks back, somebody decided it was hilarious to take the metal part off, the ring off first, take the mirror off, put the mirror on the floor, put the metal ring back on. And the rule in my house, you come and go as you please, but you break my shit, I'll banish you for good. So nothing ever gets broken. But when we first moved in here, and the man that lives here with us, who's in spirit, used to move shit all the time. And it was like, if you fucking move one more of my things, I swear to God. And I was smudging the house one day and I was walking backwards and I actually saw him dive out the front window because, of course, when you smudge, you should do it properly. If you don't know how to do that, please contact Trish or I. We will teach you how to do it properly. And he jumped out the front window, like did the whole slidey thing, jumping the fence. It was hilarious. So they can be playful. You have rules around it. No partying after 8 o'clock at night. Don't upset the animals. Don't scare my kids. You know, that sort of stuff. You can have boundaries and they will listen to that. But I don't believe there's evil or anything like
No,
that. They might have been absolute assholes when they walk the earth plane, but they're not like that in spirit form.
no, it'd just be trying to get someone's attention or just a mischievous, just
Yeah,
mischievous. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So don't be scared. Don't be
Probably because
scared.
I was sweating. I'll banish you. Oh yeah, well I'll move your avocado, lady, and you won't find it.
All right, that looks like it is it. Thank you, everybody, for coming to our 13th episode.
Or we can stay up late now. Do
Oh,
you
I
want to stay up
know,
late?
because we're teens.
Yeah. We can party like a rock star, but we may not recover like them. Go ahead, such a blast. What do you reckon?
Yeah, that was fun. That was fun, and I think everybody enjoyed it. That was really good.
Hopefully so.
So, yeah, so
Thank you all for coming along and being a part of our wacky and wonderful podcast. As you know, we're here every single week. You can catch us on the live audience, or you can. What can they do, Trish?
they can subscribe, and you can subscribe through Buzzsprout, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify, pretty soon Amazon, and you can also catch us on our Facebook page, or both of us also have YouTube channels, so check that out
We
as
do.
well. If you are already listening to us from one of those platforms, thank you for subscribing. Please leave us a review or a comment.
Tell us how wonderful we are. We love it when you stroke our egos
We do, we
because
do.
this is an ego-less industry that we work in. So
Yeah.
we pull ours out and play with it
Yep.
because we can.
Yep.
And on that note, I'd like to thank Holistic Bliss Magazine for all of your support and, of course, all of our listeners and viewers for coming along and joining us on our 13th celebration.
Woo,
And,
woo, woo.
we forgot to share our tricky fact. There's
Our tricky
13
fact.
years difference between Trish and I. I'm older.
There is. I know that was a really freaky fact, wasn't it? Like
It
when
was.
we're like, oh, it's our 13th, and then I'm 77, you're 90. I'm like, oh my God, that's 13 years between us. That
You're
calls for a
77, I'm
celebration.
90. See, I'm still older. She's going to stick to that story.
Woohoo! So 13
Oh,
is a
I
lucky
reckon we should
number.
do one from the roller skating rink one day. What do you reckon? I might have to wear like all my armored gear for my motorcycle in case I stack it. Probably would stack it these days. I was
I,
pretty quick back in the day. Back
I
in the
don't, I
day.
don't think I don't think my knees would be strong enough to even stand in roller
Do
skates
you know
now.
what? I'd fall over and get the giggles, and that'd be it. You'd have to drag me off because I wouldn't be able to get back up. Oh,
Uh,
Joanne just said she looks forward to Halloween. Oh, my darling. I
oh,
am the scariest thing you will ever see on Halloween.
ooh, you could repurpose the wig.
No, I actually go full girl, floral dresses,
Oh,
full face of
interesting.
makeup, get my hair done. I am a freaking riot on Halloween. I like to terrify people. I even wear high heels. I don't walk in them. I put them on my feet.
I
And
could
I sit
just
down.
turn this around and get glasses and be cousin it.
She could be, oh, I love Cousin It. I reckon I'm the same height as him. Probably waddle like him too. All right, we've tortured you enough, people. Thank you very much for coming along.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.